Hi, everybody. My name is Rob Abel. I'm from the IMS Global Learning Consortium, and welcome to our Learning Impact On Demand series. We're here to discuss what we're seeing right now in terms of the transformation of school district digital ecosystems, especially their academic and instructional technology ecosystems. And today we have four experts on this topic from the IMS K-12 staff team. Our panelists are Dr. Tim Clark, who's Vice President of K-12 Programs at IMS. Hi, Tim.
Hi, everyone.
We also have Monica Watts, who's Director of K-12 Engagement at IMS. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Yep, it's great to have you. And we next have Karen Daughtery, who's our K-12 Program Manager at IMS. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Rob. Thanks for having us here.
Yep. And finally, Kevin Lewis, who's our Project Manager for our app vetting work. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Rob. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, so I hope everybody's doing well today. This is a great panel, and they're going to share lots of insights in terms of the IMS members and what they're hearing from the IMS members. These folks spend all of their time talking and working with the K-12 members in IMS, particularly the institutional members. So to get things started here, I'm going to use just a few, very few visual aids to introduce the topic. And what motivated this is that during interviews with both our higher ed and K-12 leaders during this past several weeks, talking about the COVID-19 impact, they've reinforced this idea that the response has been an opportunity to accelerate digital transformation plans and strategies they expected perhaps to take much longer. So that's been very interesting. The IMS member institutions do tend to be a bit ahead of the curve in adopting the best practices for combining technology and instruction. And indeed, you know, they have pointed to needing to have a very solid foundational digital ecosystem, which of course they had already developed, you know, of interoperable products from which they've been able to respond to the scale up. But what we'd like to do in this webinar is really get the views of our IMS experts who talk to many IMS members on this particular topic of transformation, the transformation of the institutional digital ecosystem to be both more resilient and agile while laying a foundation for the future and accelerating the future, it appears. So right now, it seems like the future is coming faster than we thought, and it is a good time, we think, for you to be, especially if you're in a school district, if you're ensuring that your digital ecosystem can adapt to the changing needs. So first, I just wanted to show a couple of slides about this idea of digital transformation. I'm going to go through these really quickly because you can review these, stop the video and review these. But generally, digital transformation entails four areas of improvement: customer experience, competitiveness, profitability, and agility. And these have been the strategic imperatives that are undergirded digital transformation in numerous industries, not just education. So the question here today, of course, is what does this mean for not only the general digital transformation of education institutions, but with respect to our expertise, the transformation of academic and instructional technology. And IMS has spent a lot of time thinking about this, and we think those four imperatives can be equated to improvements in really the academic experience, you know, meaning the teaching and learning experience in terms of very tangible things in terms of how technology can be utilized to support some of the key strategies, things like personalized learning, other strategies, ultimately all measured by student achievement. For those of you that are tuning in that may not be that familiar with IMS Global, we've grown from very humble beginnings. We're a nonprofit edtech collaboration, by far the largest edtech collaboration on the planet. These tiles here show the almost 240 IMS contributing members, which is a mix of students, K-12 school districts, state national departments of ed, and suppliers. And the growth in IMS has been rather dramatic over the last several years. Over 5,000 individuals from a total of over 550 member organizations at all the different levels meet in over 500 work group meetings a year in IMS to collaborate on essentially inventing, you know, the next generation of ed tech ecosystem. And it's all based on open standards, large-scale adoption projects, and most importantly, I guess, a shared belief that, you know, together we can do a better job than separately. So today during this webinar, we're going to be referencing some stuff that's on the IMS website, and you can see a URL there on this slide. But generally, it's kind of a maturity model of sorts. It captures what we have observed as 3 important emphases of ecosystem development. They don't have to occur in this order, but sort of generally they are in most cases. And the first is establishing a scalable foundation for basically plug and play, integrations of wide variety of innovative teaching and learning applications that's just really simple and easy and low cost and low time. The second then is adding some additional features on top of that, moving data around and different types of interoperability experiences that really help the students, teachers, parents improve the learning experience to an even greater extent because the products are working together even better, and help institutions and curriculum departments improve because they're getting data that they need to keep improving what they're doing. And then the third area there on the far right is really about capturing student achievement in a way that's more comprehensive and more usable than in the past. And you can see that, go to that URL if you want to get some more information. I just wanted to give you that as a little bit of background, and now we're going to start to bring our panel into the discussion. And I bet they just couldn't wait. We're gonna have some specific questions for them. The first question is one about this idea of defining the digital ecosystem transformation today. How are IMS members living the transformation of their digital ecosystems today? And we're gonna start with Tim Clark on this question. Tim?
Thanks, Rob. I think when it comes to digital ecosystem transformation, our IMS members are considering what are the implications for teaching and learning in their schools and districts. This question is transforming the digital ecosystem conversation today in K-12. For wider adoption of open standards to spread and scale, K-12 districts are creating ways for veiled demand to become viable demand. We see this illustrated in Broward County Public Schools in Florida, and they recently issued a request for information, or RFI, to establish an equitable digital learning ecosystem. The district's goal is to assemble a digital ecosystem with IMS verified and certified tools to enable the demand to become more broadly activated.
Monica, thanks, Tim. Monica, do you have any thoughts on this idea of defining digital transformation?
I do. I think, Rob, to underscore the importance of the digital ecosystem transformation, it's important to take a look at another example beyond Broward, and that would be Grapevine Colleyville ISD in Texas. They have made significant strides to build their digital ecosystem. The district had a vision to automate rostering of users into courses and classes from their SIS to all of their platforms and tools. And with IMS Global One roster specification, they made that possible, and it really paved the way for students to use their ecosystem right away. Also, the leadership at Grapevine Colleyville is now focused on scaling their ecosystem with tools that provide insights into the application utilization to see the impact the tools are having on the student's educational journey. And this is really evidence of their digital transformation strategy, that marriage of their interoperability strategy and their pedagogy strategy to get to the next level of their ecosystem.
Thanks, Monica, for those insights. Karen, do you have any thoughts on the digital transformation?
Yeah, just to add to what Tim and Monica were saying, and as Monica finished up there, talking about the next level of transition, and as all of these K-12 districts are looking at moving their ecosystem forward, several of our K-12 members are putting a very strong emphasis on personalized learning and proficiency-based progress. So when they're building out those ecosystems, these come to the forefront very often. For example, we've seen work in Austin ISD, in Chicago Public Schools, and as well as Edina Public Schools out in Minnesota. All of these districts are leveraging strategies in these areas of personalized learning and proficiency-based progress in the pursuit of equity, agency, and mastery. And those really play a huge role when utilizing that digital ecosystem to the fullest potential.
Wow. So thank you. That's an awesome spectrum of things that are going on, and I wanted to follow that up with, what are we seeing as maybe the most important ways for institutions to establish that thing on the left that I'd shown in the picture, the foundation for choice, agility, scalability, and maybe with some examples. And we'd like to start with Monica on this one.
Yeah, that's a great question, Rob. I think at a high level, a district first must build that foundation by committing throughout the organization to an interoperable ecosystem and realize that it has implications on all the processes involved in a district, from the technology, instruction, professional learning, assessment, to human resources departments. And the strategies for constructing that ecosystem have to be communicated throughout the institution and really should involve the internal and the external stakeholders in the district. And then there just needs to be that follow through with purchasing decisions. This is important to ensure that the district acquires the necessary resources that are certified as interoperable.
Yep. So all the groups working together. Thanks, Monica. Karen, what do you think about the foundation?
I think the processes that Monica talked about are extremely important. I want to take a look at it from the logistical side. From the logistical perspective, one way to establish the foundation for a digital ecosystem is for districts to provide that seamless connection, or that single sign-on for all students and all teachers to access their digital resources. That seamless connection comes so that institutions can ensure greater educational equity, and IMS standards such as learning tools interoperability absolutely provide that, with that easy single sign-on and very secure access to that digital content.
Great. Tim, what are you seeing in terms of the members and establishing the foundation?
Oh, well, one big example of this exists at Chicago Public Schools. With that district of approximately 350,000 students and all of the teachers involved, CPS really needed a way to provide professional learning at that scale for their new digital curriculum. It's part of their curriculum equity initiative. It's really challenging to try to teach teachers, and as well as supporting all of the students and their families with all of the resources that are now going to be available and presented digitally. So interoperability among those systems helps to simplify that process and provides greater instructional equity. The goal is to spend the professional learning time available on instructional aspects rather than on the use of the technology itself. This ease of use among interoperable technology resources also benefits teachers in the classroom, as they can better support their students as well as the students' parents.
Thanks, Tim. And Kevin, why don't we go over to you and get your thoughts on the foundation?
Thank you, Rob. So in addition to interoperability, assisting teachers with the learning curve associated with using technology resources, it also helps to relieve the teacher workload, as it makes it easier for teachers to search for academic standards and resources aligned to those standards, share those resources with their colleagues as well as their students, and to also securely transmit that data, such as student grades, to other platforms, and to analyze that data to plan for further instructional opportunities to better meet the needs of individual students. And Rob, it is also worth noting that within the IMS K-12 community, the most important piece that takes place in collaboration is collaboration on district priorities of interoperability that determine what standards are needed and in what time frame. So our members are shaping the edtech market with ongoing collaboration.
All right, thanks, Kevin, and thanks, group. Those are some great points. Now, a little bit follow up on that. There's this term table stakes. What are perhaps the table stakes, that right now every institution, if they don't have in place, should really be considering having in place right now, based on what we know works, and if they don't, what are some of the best practices IMS is seeing in getting those table stakes in that foundation in place? And we're going to start with Monica on this one.
Yeah, table stakes. That's great. I love how you frame that. Many of our community, many of our member districts, we are hearing that they have 5 or 6 core tools in their ecosystem. a learning management system, single sign-on platform, assessment tool, a student information system, and then maybe a repository of their digital resources. So the LMS has become the core of the district's digital ecosystem with integration points to their SIS, digital resources, or assessment provider. And equally, the data and the content passes back and forth seamlessly through the LMS as the delivery system, thereby eliminating the need for learners to log in separately to external systems.
Thanks, Monica, for laying out the systems there. Kevin, how about some of the foundational standards? What do you think?
Yeah, so really in order for all of those tools and systems that Monica mentioned to work together, there are foundational standards and processes that need to be in place. These standards and processes are best practice, starting with one roster, which offers efficiency and scalability by securely exchanging related roster data. So courses set up and grade reporting between systems. Teachers can skip setting up accounts, mapping digital resources and courses, and manually adding gradebook data. There's also LTI Core, which allows users to securely launch tools and apps from an LMS or other learning platforms without additional logins. LTI also provides real-time data back to the LMS gradebook, which provides up-to-the-minute data for the teacher. The latest version of LTI has been built with the enhanced security of the IMS security framework, which was really great. There's also Thin Common Cartridge, which connects the content from another system by importing a cartridge of metadata that describes each digital resource that makes it more searchable and usable for instruction, such as providing meaningful title, description, standards correlation, grade level, etc. In combinations with LTI, digital content can be seamlessly launched from one system, such as an LMS, or a positive user experience. In this way, districts can utilize supplier instructional content and provide teachers and students with greater choice and greater variety of resources. There's
Thanks,
also app vetting. I'm sorry, there's also app vetting. I always forget the app vetting, which assures learners and instructors that their data is secure and private and that they will not be exposed to advertising.
Very, very important. Tim, how about some of the specific strategies we're seeing in the member districts today?
Well, this is something that we get asked quite frequently by our districts and by other districts that inquire about how do you go about setting up a digital ecosystem and what are the steps that I should take. So first of all, in my experience with districts, I think it's important to determine your vision for digital learning. What do you really want to accomplish with all of these tools and platforms at your disposal? And then you need to consider how interoperability will help you to achieve that vision. That really requires getting together all of the stakeholders and engaging them in the process of having those discussions. Then you should take inventory of the resources that you currently use. Many of those resources are already certified or comply with IMS standards, and a district can ensure or request that those suppliers get certification, which is the best way to ensure that your products will stand the test of time. But you should look at all of your resources, both your technology and your instructional resources, and see how will they help you achieve your vision for digital learning. Think about your pain points and instructional goals. Think about where you anticipate experiencing difficulties in achieving your vision and with the use of resources, and brainstorm some possible solutions to that. Then another big thing and a big benefit of IMS Global is talk to other districts that are engaged in that process. This is a crucial strategy, and it's helpful to communicate with other IMS member districts as they have already developed solutions to many of the possible issues that may arise. You may find it necessary to procure additional resources. You might need to have some resources that have some specific content or some specific capabilities that you don't have with your current set of platforms. You may find that you need some additional technical or instructional resources to achieve your vision. Require that suppliers are certified, as I stated earlier, and remain certified in the necessary interoperability standards throughout your RFIs, your RFPs, and your contracts. Then plan for communication and onboarding, as we noted earlier, so that you can keep your community engaged throughout your initiative. And then you have to think about continually nurturing your digital ecosystem. Realize that your needs may change over time, but interoperability helps with this process by ensuring plug and play with certified applications and tools.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you, team. That was great insights. And I'm wondering now about, are there specific types of initiatives that might help move an institution towards a solid foundation? Is now a good time to consider this move? And Karen, we're going to let you take a shot at this one.
Absolutely. The time is now. And I think you started off this call by stating that. Some of those initiatives that we have seen taking place, many of our K-12 districts have adopted the Digital on Day One initiative to get their ecosystems up and ready and interoperable on the first day of instruction. That may be on the first day back to school or the first day a new student transfers into a class. And open interoperability standards like OneRoster make this 100% possible. For example, Volusia County made a commitment to achieving digital access on day one just a few short years ago, and they implemented many of those strategies that Dr. Tim Clark just went over with us. Volusia County was able to achieve a plug-and-play ecosystem by moving their existing vendors from those custom data loads to the OneRoster standard. And because of that, students in Volusia County were able to access their digital tools on the first day of instruction. Another important initiative, if you'll call it, is kind of practice sessions. But those may be seen in the form of snow days or online learning days, where instruction doesn't stop just because the students aren't able to meet in their brick and mortar school in front of their teachers. We have many K-12 districts who have implemented these snow days and online learning days, and they are able to provide their students regular practice and full utilization of their connected digital applications. And with those, along with many others, our districts are prepared to move toward online learning, and the online learning that we're in right now as a result of COVID-19. All of us in K-12 are extremely focused on online learning, and now is definitely the time to develop a shared vision for this. And going back to what Monica said earlier about that communication across the district IT, the curriculum, the instruction, on how open standards and plug and play technologies solidify that foundation that you were asking about, Rob, to solidify that foundation in the district's ecosystem.
Okay, that's great, Karen. And you know, we see many institutions in IMS doing similar things in terms of putting that foundation in place, and it's really helped, you know, bolster the whole ecosystem and really build the ecosystem across. And now we'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about some of the more advanced, I guess, and sophisticated workflows. What might be some of the important improvements that enable more sophisticated learning, enhancing the learning experience, and getting edtech products to work together, perhaps in some more sophisticated ways, and what some of the institutions and IMS are beginning to put in place, and it really how prevalent any of these are, and any advice you all can give to institutions who are considering that kind of middle box, that enhanced learning space, and what should be considered there. So let's start off with Tim on this one.
All right. Well, once a K-12 district has made their initial commitment to open standards and established their foundation to achieve digital on day one, they can progress to the advanced instructional tiers. The advanced tiers of the ecosystem provide a zoomed out lens to view the strategic focus on personalized learning, measuring competencies and engagement, as well as other initiatives.
Mm-hmm. Karen, what would you like to add to that?
I think with that comes conversation around open badges, CASE, and caliper. We want our K-12 districts to start thinking about measuring competencies with open badges standard, all being under the learning data model umbrella. Some districts are still in their infancy as they're mapping out their goals with the competency benchmarks and the advanced workflows. The competencies and standards exchange standard, CASE, CASE framework data supports the use of managing the individual learner pathway, so we can see how they're succeeding and getting timely feedback and for effective interventions and support from the teaching and learning side. And CASE also provides a solution to having standards clearly articulated between all of those tools in a district's digital ecosystem, bringing them all together. CASE makes it possible for a district to have those universal identifiers for education competencies, making it possible for that learning management system, the assessment tools, all of the digital content, and all the applications that are utilized. They're able to share data between those systems and give real-time feedback. And that data supports the learner, the mastery of the academic standards, as well as the efficacy of the curriculum that is being presented. So with the students' transition to online learning, necessitated by COVID-19 and the time that we're in right now, we're seeing greater emphasis on using data like this to make informed decisions. And with that, as I mentioned, Caliper comes into play. The Caliper specification profiles provide metrics to help teachers understand how learners are engaged and are moving through the content and succeeding as they're being instructed.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the understanding student progress is a really, really gigantic issue right now. Thanks, Karen. Kevin, what would you like to say about app vetting and privacy?
I would really just like to stress how vitally important it is to remember for schools to search for applications that have been vetted through the IMS Global app vetting process, because it helps to ensure the teachers and students are safely using resources that have committed to protecting student data and their privacy, and that all resources are vetted, and the results of those vettings you can find in the IMS Global product directory.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great to know. Thanks, Kevin. We'd like to really kind of hone in a little bit here on the whole issue of digital credentials, recognition of achievements, and what's happening in K-12. What's the focus right now? What might be happening or expanding to in the future, and how we might recommend institutions get started on that. And Monica, we're going to turn that one over to you.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And we are seeing a lot of promise and possibility when it comes to digital credentials. We're still talking about an early stage technology, even though the adoption rate is growing. But there's opportunity for the IMS Global K-12 community to co-create what's going to happen. And that's really exciting, Rob. That's very important that they can co-create what's going to happen. For example, Broward County Public Schools in Florida, they're very focused on building an equitable digital ecosystem that supports all of their schools. They're the 6th largest school district in the nation, and this equitable ecosystem will support every student and meet them where they are taking into account their individual strengths and challenges. They are rethinking the traditional high school pathway and building a next generation transcript using IMS Global's Comprehensive Learner Record, or CLR. The student record is evolving in ways that more fully document the student's knowledge and accomplishments, a more equitable shift from tracking that seat time to a richer measurement of the student's abilities. And they will be able to see early warning signs to college and career readiness and more. And the Broward CLR project focuses on surfacing work-ready skills and competencies demonstrated inside and outside the classroom, and matching them with career, technical education, post-secondary credentials, and degree opportunities aligned with the student's career interests. Broward is also using the Competencies in Academic Standards Exchange Standard, or CASE, as Karen mentioned earlier, and CASE Network to align competencies and other achievements on the CLR to academic and CTE standards. So within a short time, with badges and CLR, districts will be able to credential and acknowledge learning in a variety of pathways. So just really exciting that that student's learning journey does not have to be prepackaged anymore. And this is going to be more representative of the real world and really true lifelong learning.
That's great, Monica. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing many IMS school districts moving down this path at various rates because it's so clearly such a big benefit for the future for all students. That was obviously a lot of information in a very short amount of time, and we'd like to turn it over to Tim Clark to kind of give us an overview of some of the resources that are available on the IMS website, where you can all review and learn more about what's going on.
Thank you, Rob. IMS offers support to districts in migrating to an interoperable digital learning ecosystem by defining the strategy, plan, and process. The IMS K-12 community facilitates a process to coordinate with leaders in other districts and states on setting priorities and making decisions regarding the evolution of the district's technology. I would say that this community feedback is probably the most valuable in guiding and helping districts identify where they are in their journey towards open standards to increase the effectiveness of the technology. The IMS product directory also serves as the premier tool to verify claims of certification. It's something that I always checked when I was in a school district to make sure that my resources had the appropriate certifications. Through networking and collaboration opportunities, the IMS community helps drive standards that also help drive change and innovation.
All right. Well, we wanted to keep this as short as possible so people could watch the whole thing. So I want to say thank you, Tim, Monica, Karen, and Kevin, for your insights. And thanks to our viewers for tuning in. I'd like to remind everyone that there will be more videos that will dive even deeper into these topics in the coming days and weeks. And we look forward to seeing you back here for more of our series on highly effective digital teaching and learning. This is Rob Abel saying bye for now, and let's keep the learning going.